You can help us record.
Awesome.
Woo!
All right, let's dive in.
All right, we all ready? We have a thing around here at Lawyer.com. When we're excited and happy, we have a virtual round of applause where we type C in the chat. So everybody, let's get started by a round of applause. Let's cheer each other on for showing up today to learn. Throw some C's in that chat. Yes, that's what I like to see. All right. All right, meet the team. Let's meet him. So Jerry is the CEO of Lawyer.com. He may be joining in on this call as we speak, and he's got some great insight in AI and is really driving us to get to that next level in the industry. My name is Colleen. I am the president here at Lawyer.com. Spent the last 12 years or so building a brand so I can offer a lot of insight into the company. But here's our AI specialist. The one, the only is Annie. Welcome, Annie.
Thank you so much.
Who you can't see, two people you can't see right now is one is our amazing tech team. They are the ones that are driving the innovation for AI. So they are truly on the cutting edge. And then Annie, do we have another team member in the room?
We do. We have a special team member in the room. Our personal favorite team member. No offense to anyone else.
No, okay, no one's watching.
We love ChatGPT. Latest addition to our team.
Yes. Is anyone using ChatGPT right now? In the chat, yes or no? Let's take a survey. Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
Anyone using ChatGPT 4? For those, okay, good. Well, we're gonna go. Yeah, good. Yes,
awesome.
No, yes, no, boo. Bard.
Oh, personal favorite, Dorinda. I love Bard as well. We're going to dive into that one in here.
So if you are thinking, what in God's name is happening, do not worry. We're going to walk you through this. This is a very introductory course on AI. So do not feel like you need to know anything. And if you know everything, maybe we'll be able to teach you something. So over the next half hour or so, we're going to talk about how the next generation of AI is going to help you grow your business. So let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's see what our new team members said. We asked them how using AI and specifically ChatGPT could help in the legal space. And it spit out this nice little answer that it's like having a law library in your pocket, minus the musty smell. I kind of love the musty smell of the library personally, but I like the idea that it's in my pocket.
Books,
yeah. Awesome. So we wanted to kick it off with an example of what AI can do. So this was a commercial that was created in 3 hours using only AI. So let's take a watch.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Need delivery? Pizzas come fast. Knock knock, who's there? Pizza magic. Eat Pepperoni Hug Spot pizza. Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, Pepperoni Hug Spot. It's like family, but with more cheese.
So I'm sure you're all sitting there thinking, well, that's not very impressive, but you have to truly understand that a human was not involved in anything in that process. The script was written completely by ChatGPT, images, the voiceover, video, everything in 3 hours. So that really shows you with 30 hours, 300 hours, 3,000 hours, what's truly capable in the visual world. So very exciting.
Absolutely.
So our fun time, back to the game, back to the chat. Let's see who can win some money here.
Awesome. So we just wanted to point out over here for anyone who hasn't been able to find the chat just yet, just to show you on the left is the desktop view and on the right is a mobile browser view if you were to call in from the Zoom app of just where the chat is. So let's get started.
Game time.
All right. So throw your answer in the chat. Who is the largest investor in ChatGPT? Oh, we got a C.
China.
China.
B.
OpenAI, Microsoft, Elon, Google.
China.
Lots of these.
Bezos.
Awesome. So we've got a lot of variety here. And actually, Renee, you came in first and you actually came in with the right answer. Microsoft is the largest investor in OpenAI right now, ChatGPT specifically. And so how much money did they invest? They invested $10 billion this past January.
That's like 5 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of investment.
And that's no chump change either. That's a lot of money. And so the real reason why they invested so much money, it does allow them to have a quick ability to embed ChatGPT into their products. And so we wanted to highlight this because we know that as attorneys, you most often are using Microsoft Suite products, not Google Docs, forgive me, I use Google Docs, but Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint,
Outlook.
Excel,
Yeah.
Outlook. And so these are all tools that are going to be integrated within Microsoft 365. And so here's just some samplings of what it's going to look like. Now, I will give you a heads up that right now, as of the beginning of May, Microsoft has rolled this out to 600 beta testers. So it's not available to the general public just yet, but this is a sampling of what you can expect to be on the horizon.
That's good though, because last month it was 20 users. So
Yeah.
they're really trying to expand fast. That's great and great for us.
Absolutely. And it's going to be the same product you're used to. It's going to just have some slightly different features available to help with seamlessly making your tasks easier to do.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
let's talk about what other companies are using ChatGPT. If anyone has an example, please feel free to throw it in the chat. Just some companies that we've come across and that we use somewhat daily. Zillow is a good example. We were looking for a house with a tennis court and they showed us great townhomes with options of tennis courts. Okay, LawDraw. Okay, great. That's a great example. Snapchat, Salesforce. Let's see what else we got.
Yeah.
Oh, Salesforce. That's a good one.
Yeah, Salesforce is a CRM, a customer relation management system, as some of you may be using already. Salesforce is going to be adding Einstein GPT, which is a form of ChatGPT integrated within their products, and it will help with sales. It'll help with following up with potential new clients. So all really good things that are on the horizon.
That's great. And I know David had asked a question in chat. David, and to anyone else wondering, we will send around the link to the video on YouTube, as well as we've got a presentation deck, which would be helpful resources from this presentation. So don't feel like you have to write everything we say. All right, LexisNexis, that's a good one. And we're going to dive into that a little bit later, right?
Absolutely. And Courtney, I see your question in the chat. We are going to touch on Bing in just a moment. Grammarly is another one that's really great, really helpful extension, and Slack as well, which is something we use a lot here at Lawyer.com to communicate.
All right, so here's a fun part. We're back to the chat, guys. We want to know, how are you feeling about ChatGPT and generative AI right now? Are we happy? Are we excited? Are we motivated? Overwhelmed?
Well, I'm seeing a mix.
Overwhelmed.
I'm seeing some happy. I'm seeing some excited, some motivated.
Excited, yeah.
Motivated's great.
That is
overwhelmed. Good. I appreciate that honesty. Curious about its capacity. I like that.
So we're here to talk not only about ChatGPT, but it's really important to discuss, and I know someone just brought this up and we're going to mention this later, is ChatGPT is not a replacement. It is not going to replace you as being a lawyer. ChatGPT is a tool that you can use in your tool belt that will help you get things done maybe faster, maybe more efficiently, maybe a little bit more research, more detailed. This is a tool, and all of your competitors are going to be using it. So you want to make sure that you utilize it. So we wanted to go through and show some examples of how are some ways that you guys could be using this. So let's kick it off.
Awesome. So let's dive in. So the first way is to help provide general legal information. So we're going to do a little knowledge test. Throw one in the chat if you know what hypothecate means. Right now, no Googling it. If you know the answer, if you know what it is, throw a 1. Okay, we've got some people.
I was a 0 on this one. I'm being honest.
Yeah, I was a goose egg. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Nothing here. So this is something that ChatGPT can be really helpful with. So you can always ask it to explain legal terms. Perhaps there's a legal terminology that you're not super familiar with. You remember reading it once in law school, but it's been some years and you want to refresh yourself before you have a client come in. This gives you a really great definition, and it also provides in different verticals what the term might be used and how it would apply. It's really great, but it's kind of giving us a lot of information, which we don't always have time to read.
Nope.
And so this is our first tip that we wanted to share. Prefacing a prompt with Eli 5 will return a response that is shorter and more concise and a little more dumbed down, for lack of a better word. It stands for explain it like I'm 5. Eli 1 works too. That will typically get you a 1-sentence recap of something. But Eli 5 gives you, as you can see, a couple paragraphs versus 4 or 5 coming up.
Yeah, I know. A couple of weeks ago, I went in and I said, Eli 5, Grapes of Wrath. It's been a while since I've read it. I know it's a great book. I wanted a refresher. And then I was like, oh, that's way too much information. Eli 1. And in 1 sentence, it summarized the whole book perfectly. It really was amazing. Now, help with legal research. We all need help.
Absolutely. And so I do recognize for the hallucinations, we're going to highlight a whole section on that because that's a concern for sure. And we don't want to gloss over that. But in a broad sense, it can help with case research. So perhaps you know a landmark case that you want to look up and you want to have some more of the contextual details that led to it being a landmark decision. This is a great way to get that insight without having to lean on an associate or look it up in other ways. Just like the other prompting tip, this is one that we have as well. So at the end of your prompt, you can write TL semicolon DR. It stands for too long, didn't read. And suddenly it's going to give you the same info, but it's going to make it much more concise for you as the reader. So you've got one paragraph here instead of 5. So just simple prompting tips that can help with the volume of content you're receiving.
All right, now creating legal documents, and we will talk about the case in New York. We will talk about hallucinations, but this is just us showing you what happens when you type a prompt in. So
Absolutely. So something that is definitely time consuming for attorneys, as you are well aware, is writing demand letters. They're super important and they're vital to the practice of law, but they can be really time consuming to draft. So this is a way to help getting a bare bones of what you want to send out in that demand letter. Something we wanted to highlight here is that indicating the tone you would like the output to be in is really important when you're creating a prompt. I saw there was a prompt engineer in here that's in school, so I'm sure you would be able to have a lot of content on that as well. But the more details you put in, the better. So in here, you see, we wrote that we want it to be stern. We wrote what we want that to be returned and the value of what's going to be returned. And so you can see in the output that it's a much sterner letter that perhaps is a little more in the voice that you naturally would use. We always recommend, though, going through and making this your own and putting your own unique take on it. That will help set you apart as an attorney and also ensure that you're not violating perhaps any ordinances from your practice that maybe don't want you to use AI.
right, and then we go to, this is not replacing you, right? This is a tool. So here we're asking it, hey, help us draft jury questions, right? So you right now have a legal assistant in your musty packet, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Is that what ChatGPT said? So this is, again, an example of, this is the input, create a list of 10 thorough questions for a jury, and then boom, here are the 10 questions. It's your responsibility to go through and read these. The way that we operate with GTP around here is that we use it as a starting off point and a way to brainstorm and to break through that wall. This is not a final product by any means, nor should it be taken that way.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing here is that this is really helping expedite some of those tasks that it really can be time consuming day to day in the office, but it's not going to eliminate that last step of going through and proofreading and double checking your work and your sources. And so over here is really, we wanted to highlight that adding some more things about tone. So maybe you want it to be conversational, a little more like your own voice.
Yeah.
That will also help the output as well.
All right, drafting a complaint. Again, we're trying to show you, and I'm sure you guys, I don't know if anyone's not seen ChatGPT live, but this is a live demo of us saying, hey, draft a legal complaint for a Texas court. And we're using John Doe. And as you can see, we're typing it all out, and then the output is going to come, which is really, really helpful.
Absolutely. And Barry, I see your question in the chat about will it really generate things so quickly? It will. I do want to highlight that we are using ChatGPT Plus, which is $20 a month for a subscription that allows it to be slightly faster than what ChatGPT is, which is an option available to the public. That's how we all have it on our own personal devices. But that is an option, and we'll walk through how you can sign up for that if you're interested.
But it just shows how quick. Now, again, this is not the final product. This is the shell that you can then go and take and say, hey, what, this isn't here, or this isn't right. So again, this is the shell that you can use to build the tool.
Absolutely.
Drafting a contract.
Drafting a contract, another really important thing for all varieties of legal spaces. And so just another way that you can see that it will help create a formatted document that you otherwise, you can save yourself the time of even just doing the formatting. Maybe the content's something that you want to tweak.
Right.
But this is something that will include, it will recognize what the usual representations and warranties of a sale is. It will scour the internet for contracts to see what's usually in there, and it will insert them in it, just like you're seeing above. So pretty cool to see that it's going to spit out all of this work in half the time.
Now we talk about using kind of pseudonyms so that we can
expedite it.
Yeah, I guess so. So
absolutely. So if you just say, I really liked this, I want to keep it, rinse and repeat. Let's do it
Yep.
again. You can use the same language and just say, hey, do this for Nancy Jenkins. Awesome. So I see in the chat about summarizing medical records. So it's a really great question. I was recently asked this, and right now, as it stands, ChatGPT as a standalone product can't do medical chronography. However, there are some specific medical chronography AI companies that are out there right now. I found about 3 or 4. So I definitely recommend looking them up. If you just type medical chronography AI, there's a couple really great ones that come up that can help on that front specifically. Awesome. So another quiz question.
All right,
Say.
who's ready for a quiz? Everybody? We need a break from all that content. All right. What percent of lawyers report that they're working outside business hours in chats? Okay, we got 75. Let's see who else. 80, 100.
40, 50. We've got some mixed results here. All right, let's see.
60. All right, let's see who's going to win. I think we got
75%. So we had someone right at the top.
the
Let's see.
first answer.
Gray, right at the top. You are the winner. You are correct that 75% of lawyers report working outside of regular business hours, which I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound really great for work-life balance. And so that's where we wanted to highlight where ChatGPT and AI in general can help be an asset. So it's a new legal assistant.
So you have to understand right now, your competitors are using this right now. I mean, they're probably doing webinars on podcasts, talking about it. So it's important that you guys understand how they're using it and why they're using it. So some important things to note why to use ChatGPT. Number one, it's 24/7, right? It does not go to sleep. It does not need to go to the bathroom. It does not need to take a nap, to eat anything. It is super fast, subhuman fast. It's always hungry for your business, and it's only $20 a month. Could you imagine having a top tier A employee for $20 a month? I think that we would all sign up for that without even blinking.
No benefits to pay either.
None.
Yeah.
No HR, which we like.
No days off needed.
So this is why we're all here. Everybody wants to talk about what are the concerns about ChatGPT. So
Yes. So we want to dive into it. We are optimists, but we're realists too.
Yeah.
We know that the reality is out there. So something Courtney highlighted earlier, hallucinations. They are a concern. So for those of us who aren't familiar with hallucinations in ChatGPT, they are content that is put out that's irrelevant, incoherent, it could be inaccurate. Why this is relevant, there was a case argued in New York City this past month where an attorney had submitted a document to the judge, and it cited some cases that were actually non-existent. And so that's where we really want to drive home that needing to double check and make sure that the output is in fact accurate is absolutely a step you should be taking. And so those are just some ways to help limit that. Being super specific with what you're asking it, putting those tone pieces in can be really helpful.
yeah.
Someone asked about the internet or scouring a training database. There are some limitations here. So ChatGPT on the regular free model is pulling data up through 2021. And so because of that, it's not going to show you up-to-date info. So if you ask it who won the World Cup in 2022, it will not know the answer to that. Conversely, if you were to use ChatGPT 4, it's going to tie in with current searches. It just integrated Bing as of this week. And
Yeah.
so now it's pulling from live from the internet so that you can get that information.
Something interesting, and I know it was often mentioned in this article in New York, is that ChatGPT will continue to tell you it's right. So in this case, the gentleman had gone in and said, hey, I need these examples. And he said, are you sure? And ChatGPT, you'd be shocked to see how persuasive ChatGPT is in saying, yes, I'm right. So there are, and we're going to talk about this, there are a lot of AI legal specific companies that are racing to get you research data that is hallucination free.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing in that case is if you have a subscription to Lexis or you have a subscription to Westlaw, checking those case numbers, checking the case names, even doing a broader Google search and looking. And the case that we are discussing, the attorney was trying to represent other airline cases and they were not accurate. Something that comes up is who owns the output. Another question that comes up really frequently. So there are a couple cases that we wanted to mention as they are directly relevant here. So Naruto v. Slater is a case that was referenced by the Copyright Office recently in their decision on how they will issue protections for AI generated materials. So this little monkey is named Naruto. He is living in a reserve in Indonesia, and he snapped a selfie on a wildlife photographer's camera back in 2011. That photo was published in a book because it looked really cute. And PETA said, no, you didn't take that photo. You should not be able to publish that photo. The monkey took the photo. But
To send
as
you a
the
letter.
Ninth
I've had
District
people
found,
that assume that they're
the
done
Ninth District
when they're
ruled
not
that
done.
Naruto lacked a statutory standing
I don't know if
because the Copyright Act does not protect non-humans. And so the reason the Copyright Office referenced this case now is because something generated from a machine is not from a human. So something important to keep in mind. Another case that is directly relevant here.
Has anyone heard about this case yet? I know it just hit the news probably 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, it came out, the final decision. So Warhol versus Goldsmith. So a TLDR for this case is that back in the 80s, Andy Warhol, working with Vanity Fair, had a photograph licensed from a photographer named Goldsmith on the left, that they could then create the Prince series. And so these are some of the signature silk screens that Andy Warhol is famous for. And so every time it was printed, Goldsmith got credit, and she was aware and paid for that. However, in 2016, when Prince died, Vanity Fair printed the Orange Prince in one of their publications and did not actually give credit to Goldsmith. And so as a result, she sued. And so the question at hand was really, was it transformative enough under the first act of the copyright protection to be protected here? And so the Supreme Court decided in a 7-2 decision that Goldsmith is correct. The first factor of the Copyright Act's fair use doctrine favors Goldsmith, not Warhol. They specifically said that because they were both being used in commercial spaces for commercial purposes, that they were not transformed enough, and it was still recognizably derived from that original. So just important in the AI landscape, because especially with image generation, it's definitely a case that's going to come up again, I feel, just knowing that at what point in that transformative process does you stop giving credit to the original photographer or the original creator of the work.
Very important. How are we feeling so far? Overwhelmed? Happy? We're going too fast, too slow?
Awesome.
All right,
So-
guys, privacy, really
Yeah.
important.
I saw Jack mentioned this in the chat about the concern about who could access this information you're putting up. Personally
Yeah.
identifiable information is something we definitely take seriously. So you might be asking yourself, how do they store data to learn off of? Could they discriminate against people based on data that you're putting in it? Is it safe for me to put anything in it? So this is what we asked ChatGPT, and here's what it told us itself. And so it lets you know that you can put it in, but it doesn't recommend doing that. Just like it doesn't recommend doing that on any website, because you want to make sure it is really secure. My tip for this is, if you are working in Microsoft Word, do a Control F to open a find and highlight the name of the name of the individual perhaps that you're representing. So maybe you're writing a contract for John Smith, and I'm going to search for John, and I can replace his name with Frank.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to change a couple details with his address, and that will allow it not to be so identifiable.
So a lot of really great information. Again, we're not here to say that AI is perfect right now. AI is evolving faster and faster by the day. It is moving at such a rapid pace that we're just trying to keep up. And I know people have some concerns and some hallucinations and citations. What we're talking about right now, I can guarantee you in a week is going to be outdated. Because
Absolutely.
we are doing this presentation weekly and the content keeps changing. We cannot keep up. So we wanted to just touch base a little bit on how fast AI is evolving. So we'll dive right in and talk about the rapid growth of ChatGPT. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about how ChatGPT can be your legal assistant, can be your 24/7 helper. But do you know that they passed the bar? So we went around ChatGPT and we said, okay, what tests did you take and what did you pass? So it's important to understand that when we talk ChatGPT, there's ChatGPT 3.5, which is free. And if you went, and we'll show you how to log on, if you use that, that is a free version. And about a month or change ago came ChatGPT 4. And that's the $20 subscription. What we want to show you right now is the difference, that the training from 3.5 to 4. So GTP 3.5 took a microeconomics exam and they got a 60% pass rate. ChatGPT 4 took it and got a 82% pass rate. Amazing. All right, LSATs. ChatGPT 3.5 had a 45% rate versus 85%. The reason that we're trying to highlight this is we're trying to show you this is how fast AI is moving. It's learning from us to make it better. All right, this is the fun one, the universal bar exam. Everyone get into the chat. We got a $25 gift card coming. So ChatGPT 3.5 scored a 10%. What do you think ChatGPT? Okay, we got 199. We'll do Price is Right rules.
Yeah,
Cool?
Price is Right, closest without going over.
Okay. Oh,
Wow, we've got a lot of numbers coming in fast. All right, let's see. The answer is 90%. It looks like we
had a 90.
We had a 90, the first 90 to
Richard?
come in. Oh, wait, no, the first one was Suzette.
Sorry, Richard.
Sorry, Richard, you were close, but no cigar. Suzette won there at this time.
So the reason that we're highlighting this and trying to pressure this point is because in just a matter of months, we've been able to train ChatGPT that much more. And that's really important to understand in the evolution of AI and why you want to be using this as a tool in your career.
Awesome.
So
yeah, I can dive in on this one. This is a pretty meaty topic. And so we just wanted to give a high level overview because it is something you'll start hearing more and more in the news. So just like there are different types of evolution within AI already, like you have just different technology already in existence, but there are generative AI and there's also diffusion AI. So generative AI are what we've been discussing so far. So ChatGPT, things like Bing and Bard, they're creating new data looking at existing data. I saw someone in the chat ask, is it scouring the internet? How does it do that? Generative AI is scouring the internet. Generative AI it's a probability game. So they are going to scan, they'll say the first word is and I'm going to look through all the documents on the internet and decide what the likelihood is that the next word will be. And it continues to do that until it puts out a document for you. Comparatively, diffusion AI is random noise and noise image, and it adds to create details. So that image we showed you earlier, that Terminator looking folk, that was created using diffusion AI. That was from Midjourney. So just something to know that if you are using creating images or video, you probably are going to be using a form of diffusion. Whereas if you're creating something with Word documents and everything, it's going to be more generative. Which leads us to, how do you sign up for it?
So we are going to go through, and again, we're going to send this information as well when the call is over and give you the recording. So don't feel like you have to capture everything, but we just want to show you how easy it is to get an account at these sites. So Annie, why don't we just walk us through ChatGPT first?
Absolutely. So the first one would be ChatGPT. You're going to want to go to chat.openai.com. And when you get there, you'll be prompted with this screen. So you can sign up. You can create an account. If you have a Google or Microsoft account, I always recommend it. It helps expedite the sign up process. You'll just have to verify your email address and your phone number just to ensure that it is you. And here you are, you're inside. This is the window that you will see when you're working in ChatGPT. You'll see in the corner, there's this upgrade to plus option. And so if you click that, it's going to prompt up this screen, allow you to upgrade your plan. Another thing that we wanted to just bring up with that is the reason that we personally recommend using ChatGPT for is just like those stats that Colleen shared about the UBE pass rate was at a 10% versus 90. The 90% is if you're using the plus program because the 90 is operating on GPT-4. If you're using the free version, you're still using the 3.5 that got the 10% pass rate. So just something to consider when you're thinking about signing up.
And I will say before we go to Bing real quick is that in GTP now they allow you plugins. So a lot of people want to say, hey, can I upload a document? And as of prior to now, you'd have to copy and paste it in. But now you can use plugins to upload documents, read through them. Hey, summarize this for me. Read this. Tell me what I should ask supporting questions for. So that is also something new that we'll go over as well next week, probably.
Absolutely. So Bing sign up process. Someone mentioned Bing in the chat earlier. Bing is a product that's put out for Microsoft. So this is how they're also using that investment money. If you download the Microsoft Edge browser, you're going to open it up and this is the homepage you'll see. And then in the upper right corner, you're going to see that little B icon. If you click that, it's going to fold out a little window on the side, and that's there. You're ready to go. That's all that Bing has. You don't go to a different website. It's off of the homepage. And I encourage you to play around with this. Personally, I like the feel of OpenAI better than Bing's, but it's something definitely to get your flavor with.
It's a preference. for
Absolutely.
sure.
And then my personal favorite, Bard. Bard is put out from Google. It is their language model. And so you will need to first download the Google Chrome app for either your browser. And then just type in bard.google.com and you're in and ready to go. Something that we do recognize is related to privacy. And so we will touch on that in just a moment. But something just to consider for Bard is that if you don't need a Google account in order to be able to use Bard.
The AI legal race. So we were just talking earlier about how fast AI is moving. What's moving even faster is money being thrown at AI in the legal industry to help expedite this even faster. So we just wanted to showcase, and these are some brands that you're probably very familiar with. You may be even using some of them. So we just wanted to show you kind of what is being raised right now in the legal AI industry.
Absolutely. So there is Harvey. That's something that you might have heard about in the news. That's a full suite service for legal and law firms. Lexis, a name that y'all are very familiar with, I'm sure. LawGeeks helps with contract automation. Casetext is also, that's in the news lately that it's going to be acquired. They're thinking it might be Reuters that's buying it, but that might be another competitor and another companion to Westlaw. So keep an eye out for that name. I bet it's going to come up soon in the news.
Yeah.
Contract Pod helps with contract automation. Ironclad, 333 million. L'Oreal and MasterCard use Ironclad for all of their contracts. And so these are all tools that they will help redline language that you didn't agree upon, suggest new clauses, etc. But one that we really wanted to highlight, because I know you do know a lot about this company, is Lexis. Lexis recently provided a $30 million investment in AI, and they've provided a little bit of insight into what that's going to mean. It's coming this summer, so it should be available soon. And so this is just a rendering that was provided in their keynote. But one of the pieces of feedback that Lexis said they kept receiving was that the searches didn't feel conversational for you, the lawyers, conducting them. So they changed that. With Lexis AI, it's going to be conversational, just like how we ask ChatGPT questions. That'll be the same in Lexis. And it'll also allow follow-up questions to that same prompt. It'll summarize large text documents, so you could feed things in and you get a summary from it. And it can also help with drafting things for briefs, contract clauses, cease and desist letters. And it will attach the primary and secondary sources, being that Lexis has the database of all of that case law. So something just to think about when you are wanting to figure out for which platform to use and citation specifically. A product like Westlaw, Westlaw, they might be on there too soon. I spoke too soon, but Lexis, that they might have the best offering out there for you. It's just not available just yet. Awesome.
All right. Well, someone said, is it possible to print the AI responses? I think, Richard, what you're asking for, you can print the page very simply. If you have questions on it, feel free to ask us and we can walk you through it. We're going to talk a little bit more, but how's everyone feeling? Overwhelmed? All right, so we want to go over two exciting announcements that we have. A big day here yesterday at HQ because we launched our Lawyer.com $1 million AI challenge. There's no hiding from AI. It's coming, and we want to be at that forefront, and we want to work with people who are willing to change law to help provide legal access to all. So yesterday we launched our $1 million AI challenge, where we're looking for talented ideas and talented implementations on how AI is going to help change law for the better. So we will keep you guys posted on that, but you may have seen it out there on the
news, the press release. And if you are interested, I will throw in the chat right now on the website that you can check it out online. It's AI.lawyer.com. Oh, perfect. There it is. It's in the chat already.
So the next exciting thing, and we'll go into this in detail, is that Annie and I have running this series for the last month or so, and We find that it's very informative, but we're ready to kind of take it to the next step and dig a little bit deeper. We want to come in and give a very introductory look at it so that it's not so overwhelming. And we're ready now to dive in a little bit deeper. So join us next Thursday, June 8th. It's a free webinar, and we're going to kind of continue to talk about the evolution of AI. We're going to be sending around a recap email with everything. So please feel free to RSVP to that. We're also always looking for lawyers that are interested in testing. I call them guinea pigs. I've got a few that have been very loyal to us throughout the years. If you are interested in learning how you can test some AI platforms, I'm always looking for testers. So please, in the email, respond back saying, hey, yeah, I want to test. I want to learn more. Everything that we do is to hopefully make AI better in the future. So
absolutely. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of the questions that I see thrown up in the chat. So to print the AI response, you can't go within ChatGPT and just click print screen. I don't believe that is an option, but it also, this kind of feeds into another question I saw about if I ask a question and then I ask it the same question and get a different response. When you get a response in the upper right corner, if you hover your mouse over that response, it's going to populate a thumbs up, a thumbs down, and a clipboard. The thumbs up, you want to give that emoji if it's giving you responses that sound in line with what you're wanting. That helps train the machine for you specifically, so you know that what it's giving you is what you want. And if you thumbs down it, it's going to stop giving you as many results that resemble that. And similarly, if you click that clipboard, you can then copy that into a Word doc and print it, and there won't be any formatting issues.
Awesome. Well, so right before we open it up to questions, I just want to point out the image on the screen right now. Annie was talking about generative AI and then diffusion AI. So Annie, can you just tell us a little bit about why this image is diffusion AI? Because I do think that's important.
Absolutely. So just like how we showed with those prompting tips that you could ask it specifically to write a demand letter and it pulled knowledge from the internet and it spit out a demand letter. Right here, we wanted it to create an image. So we went to a different platform called Midjourney and we asked it to create a human becoming a robot. And this is what it started to create for us. So it's pulling from different images across the web and taking little pixels from each and creating them into one new prompt, into one new image. That is kind of how they created that commercial for Pepperoni HubSpot. And you'll see that it's coming up more and more. There are a lot of products coming out. I think I count about 10 a week that are offering different opportunities to play around with this. I know that not Snapfish, one of those photo websites that they just launched one too, an AI image generator.
So does this mean we own this image now?
Yes. So great question. And so because Kristen, our lovely designer for this presentation, put in the prompt for human becoming a robot, she owns it. From Midjourney and OpenAI, the creator of the input owns the output. And so how that works when it gets copyrighted is a whole other ballgame. But for the sake of this, Kristen owns this image because Kristen created the prompt for the image and that was what was created.
So again, we're going to be here next Thursday with a whole new presentation, kind of a 102. We've all graduated, hopefully, from 101, but we do want to open it up to everybody's questions. We're here to answer anything, any concerns. We will be sending around the video, the PDF, feedback. If you have feedback of what you like, what you want to see more of, please let us know. This is something that we're very passionate about here at Lawyer.com. Any questions?
Something I did want to raise, it's going to be in the PDF that we will send out, but it's something that I recognize as a concern about storing data. Data protection is something we always think about. OpenAI does have a form that you can fill out, and we have instructions in the PDF that you can submit to OpenAI to ask that they do not store your data to learn off of. That's an option that you have. Bard is easier to just click right within the panel, and we'll show you the image of it. You just click within and toggle off, don't save my responses. And so if you're concerned about your client's info or anything of your practice being saved on those platforms, you have the option to opt out. So I definitely encourage you to check that out.
Any questions?
Thank you all for the positive feedback. We appreciate that. And
It's a nice way to go into the weekend as we
absolutely.
prepare for 102.
Absolutely. And just one other thing I wanted to highlight before we wrap up is just on the note of extensions, especially when you go to a browser extension, just make sure that OpenAI is the creator of that extension, because you don't know if another company is trying to read in your information. So just make sure that it's put out from OpenAI. The ones Colleen mentioned are available within OpenAI. So they're specifically within the engine.
Interesting question. Annie will be able to answer this.
Yeah, an identical image. So from what I've seen, it doesn't create an identical image. It can come somewhat similar, but it's not exactly the same. I've seen that people will continue to ask it just like the tone prompting that we talked about. If they add just one more word, it changes the whole image up. And so that's why it wouldn't always put out the same unless if you put perhaps the exact verbatim prompts. But
And like we said, next week, this could all change. Like literally we could walk out this room and it could all change. That's how fast it's moving. And as soon as lawyers get involved, things will change. Sorry, guys. But any other questions for us? Let's see. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm using it.
Awesome. Great question, Chris. It is the ChatGPT app and it is published by OpenAI. So you just want to make sure that it's published by OpenAI, but they just released that app this week. Awesome. Richard, for an email response, I'm not sure if I follow, if you mean for emailing the, if your response from ChatGPT is emailed directly to you, or if you mean for the materials we're going to send out.
I will say that whenever I write an email now, I have ChatGPT help me write it so that I sound just brilliant, because obviously I am. So it was funny, we were announcing the $1 Million Challenge yesterday, and I wanted to write something quick and witty on LinkedIn so everyone read it and was like, dang, she's got it. She nailed it. So what I did is I took our press release and I pasted it into ChatGPT and I said, hey, help me write a punchy, fun LinkedIn post under X characters. And boom, out came a million different options. So that's one way to use it for content. But like we said, using ChatGPT for content is so 2003. We're looking onward here.
Exactly. Okay, Richard, thank you for following up on that. So it can't send the email directly from the platform, but it can draft an email for you complete with the subject line and everything. So if you were to say, can you please draft a follow-up email to Frank? We met yesterday and we talked about his personal injury claim stemming from a car accident. It will spit out an email and it will have the subject line and everything. You would just need to paste that over to your browser and then you can send it out. Awesome. But this is something that Microsoft 365 will probably allow. So something to keep an eye out for.
Well, if there's no other questions, guys, we really appreciate you taking the time. We are going to go back to our desks and work on AI. And we really hope to see you join us next Thursday. We'll be giving out prizes. We'll be having fun and we'll be learning, right? This is happening and we are here to educate you guys along the way. And we're honored to do so.
Thank you so much for all your ingredients.
No, we don't have CLE available. I can talk a long time about CLE, but we don't have that available at this time. So,
Awesome.
All right, guys, everyone, enjoy your Thursday and happy early weekend to everybody.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
one.